The Vanishing Campsite. In the heart of a dense forest, a group of friends embarked on an overnight camping trip to celebrate their high school graduation. Their destination was a secluded clearing known for its breathtaking views and serene ambience. Little did they know that this seemingly idyllic spot held a dark secret. As night fell, they gathered around a crackling campfire, sharing stories and enjoying each other's company. The stars twinkled above, and the air was filled with laughter and the scent of roasting marshmallows. Everything seemed perfect until a low, eerie hum began to resonate through the air. Initially dismissed as the wind rustling through the leaves, the hum grew louder and more pronounced. Unease settled over the group as they realized the sound was coming from all directions, as if the forest itself was emitting the haunting resonance. Nervous laughter replaced their joviality as they exchanged uneasy glances. Attempting to ignore the unsettling noise, they focused on their campfire. But as they gazed into the flames, they began to see strange shapes flickering within. Distorted faces and twisting forms seemed to dance in the fire's depths, sending a shiver down their spines. The fire's crackling now sounded like whispered words, unintelligible yet undeniable. Fueled by a mix of curiosity and fear, they decided to venture into the woods to investigate the source of the strange hum and the distorted images in the fire. Armed with flashlights, they moved cautiously through the underbrush, the darkness pressing in on them like a suffocating weight. As they walked deeper into the forest, the hum grew more intense, resonating within their chests and vibrating through their bones. The trees seemed to close in around them, their gnarled branches forming sinister shapes in the dim light. Suddenly, one of their flashlights flickered and died, plunging them into near darkness. Their anxiety escalated as they struggled to replace the flashlight's batteries, their trembling hands making the task more difficult. When the light finally came back on, they were startled to find themselves alone. Their friends had vanished without a trace, leaving behind only the echoes of their calls. Frantic and disoriented, they retraced their steps, calling out and shining their flashlights in every direction. But the clearing where they had set up camp was nowhere to be found. It was as if the forest had rearranged itself, erasing any trace of their campsite and their companions. Fear gnawed at them as they realized they were lost, trapped in a shifting maze of trees and shadows. The hum now surrounded them, growing louder and more insistent. Panic set in, and they began to run, their footsteps echoing through the forest as they desperately searched for a way out. Hours passed, the darkness seemingly eternal, until finally the first rays of dawn broke through the canopy. Exhausted and disheveled, they stumbled into a clearing, not the one they had originally camped in, but a different one entirely. The hum had vanished, replaced by the gentle sounds of birdsong and rustling leaves. They emerged from the forest, their faces pale and haunted. The authorities were called, but despite an extensive search, no trace of their missing friends was ever found. The group's harrowing experience became a cautionary tale, a reminder that even the most familiar of places can transform into something otherworldly and terrifying. To this day, the remaining members of the group struggled to make sense of what happened that night. The memory of the vanishing campsite and the haunting hum of the forest lingers, a reminder that some mysteries are best left untouched, buried within the depths of the woods. The Whispering Cave Expedition. In a remote corner of a sprawling national park lay a cave that locals referred to as the Whispering Cave. The cave was known for its strange acoustics, where even the softest sounds could carry and reverberate in eerie ways. A group of adventure seekers decided to embark on an overnight expedition to explore the cave's mysteries. Armed with headlamps and camping gear, the group set off on a sunny afternoon. The hike to the cave was challenging, winding through dense forests and rocky terrain. As night fell, they arrived at the entrance of the cave, its gaping mouth yawning in front of them. With a mix of excitement and trepidation, they descended into its depths. Inside, the cave was vast and labyrinthine, its walls adorned with intricate formations of stalactites and stalagmites. The group marveled at the beauty around them, their footsteps echoing through the chambers. Their headlamps cast eerie shadows on the walls, and the distant sound of dripping water created a soothing, rhythmic backdrop. As they delved deeper, they noticed something peculiar. Their whispers were carrying much farther than expected, bouncing off the walls and reverberating with an almost musical quality. It was as if the cave itself was whispering back to them, an eerie chorus of faint voices that seemed to emerge from the very rock. Curiosity piqued, they decided to test the cave's acoustics further. They began to speak in hushed tones, their words bouncing off the walls and creating an unsettling symphony of whispers. The effect was both mesmerizing and chilling, and they found themselves speaking in hushed tones, as if the cave demanded their reverence. As they continued exploring, the whispers seemed to grow more distinct, forming indistinct words that seemed to echo in their minds. The group exchanged nervous glances, their initial excitement giving way to unease. They couldn't shake the feeling that they were being watched, that unseen eyes were observing their every move. In a remote chamber deep within the cave, they stumbled upon an ancient, weathered mural on the wall. The mural depicted figures engaged in a mysterious ritual, their faces obscured by masks and their forms distorted by the flickering light of their torches. The mural seemed to come to life as they shone their headlamps upon it, the figures appearing to dance and sway. As they stared at the mural, the whispers grew more insistent, forming clear words that seemed to carry a warning. The air around them seemed to thicken, and the temperature dropped drastically. Panic set in as they realized they had ventured too far into the depths of the cave, and an overwhelming urge to leave gripped them. With their hearts pounding, they retraced their steps, the whispers growing louder and more urgent as they moved toward the cave's entrance. The shadows seemed to dance and writhe, taking on strange, almost sentient shapes that seemed to reach out to them. They burst out of the cave, their breaths ragged and their minds racing. The cool night air felt like a lifeline as they stumbled away from the entrance. They set up camp outside the cave, unable to shake the feeling that they had trespassed into something beyond their understanding. The rest of the night passed in a tense silence, the group huddled together around their campfire. The whispers seemed to linger in the air, carried on the wind that rustled through the trees. The dawn broke, and they packed up their gear, eager to leave the cave and its unsettling mysteries behind. As they looked back at the entrance of the Whispering Cave, a sense of relief washed over them. The experience had been both thrilling and terrifying, a reminder that even the most breathtaking natural wonders can hold secrets that defy explanation. The memory of the whispers and the eerie acoustics would stay with them, a haunting reminder of their overnight expedition into the heart of the unknown. The Whispering Woods Retreat. In the heart of rural Pennsylvania, a group of friends embarked on an overnight trip to an abandoned cabin nestled deep within the Whispering Woods. The cabin had been the subject of local legends, its unsettling history shrouded in mystery. Despite the unsettling stories, the friends were thrill-seekers and dismissed the tales as mere superstitions. As night fell and the moon cast eerie shadows through the trees, the friends settled into the cabin. The creaking floorboards and the distant hoots of owls gave the place an unsettling ambience, but they laughed off their unease. They gathered around the flickering fire, sharing ghost stories and trying to spook each other. Around midnight, they decided to explore the woods with flashlights. As they wandered deeper into the forest, the sounds of rustling leaves and snapping branches added to their trepidation. An unusual chill hung in the air, causing shivers despite their warm clothing. As they trudged along, one of the friends, Mark, suddenly stopped in his tracks. He pointed his flashlight towards a decrepit, weather-worn tree with strange markings etched into its bark. The markings seemed to depict twisted faces and elongated limbs, like tortured souls frozen in agony. Uneasy laughter bubbled up as they joked about the tree's eerie appearance. But then, something caught their attention. Faint whispers seemed to drift through the air, carried on the wind. The friends exchanged nervous glances, their initial amusement fading. The whispers grew louder, forming indistinct words that seemed to slither into their minds, planting seeds of doubt and fear. Their laughter turned to tense silence as they struggled to make out the words. It was as if the very woods were trying to communicate with them, weaving a sinister narrative that sent shivers down their spines. Panic crept into their voices as they realized the whispers were getting closer, as if encircling them. In a moment of shared dread, they turned and fled back toward the cabin. The path that had seemed so familiar on the way out now felt like an impenetrable labyrinth. The woods seemed to shift around them, the trees closing in with their gnarled branches. As they burst back into the clearing where the cabin stood, they found themselves surrounded by an unnerving quiet. The whispers had vanished, leaving behind an oppressive stillness that hung in the air like a heavy shroud. They huddled inside the cabin, clutching their flashlights like talismans against the encroaching darkness. The rest of the night was sleepless, the friends huddled together in a state of tense vigilance. Dawn broke, and the first rays of sunlight filtered through the trees. With the coming of daylight, the cabin's eerie aura seemed to recede, and the oppressive weight lifted. As they gathered their belongings to leave, they couldn't shake the feeling that the woods were watching them, waiting for their return. The unsettling whispers had etched an indelible mark on their memories, a chilling reminder of a night they would never forget. To this day, the friends refused to speak of what transpired in the Whispering Woods. They parted ways, haunted by a shared experience that forever changed their perception of the supernatural. The abandoned cabin and its twisted trees stand as a testament to a night when the line between reality and the eerie unknown blurred in the most unsettling way.